All aboard! It's a simple phrase. Everyone knows what it means. Get on the boat or you're not going. Simplicity and complexity are the topic of my speech. I was given the quote. Sometimes the questions are complicated, but the answers are simple. I take this to mean don't overcomplicate things. I'm going to use 3 examples to prove why I believe this to be true, the meaning of this quote to be true, to not overcomplicate things. My first example will be from a film. The second will be from math, the concept of math. And thirdly, another movie. The first movie I'm going to use to prove my point, my first piece of evidence, is in the movie Mean Girls. Our main character is given a math problem. She has to solve it. It's in a competition. It's the heat of the moment. She's got to solve it. And she's thinking of all these things. She's thinking social issues. She's thinking about lip gloss on the other girls, on the other person's team. And she realized she's thinking back. She's kind of all over the place. And then she realizes the answer. She figures out the limit does not exist. And that's it. She solves it. That's the answer. And the answer is much easier than the question. The question might have been complicated, but the answer was simple. The limit does not exist. And then it applies to those social situations. And I think that it applies to the quote. Sometimes the questions are complicated, but the answers are simple. Going further along in math, my second example to prove the point of don't overcomplicate things is the quadratic formula, which is a big mumble jumble of letters and numbers, but to remember it and to be able to solve these problems to make the answer more simple, it's through a song. The quadratic formula. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And through that little melody of Pop Goes the Weasel, a teacher of mine applied it to the formula, and I don't think I'll ever forget it. So the question might be complicated, solve this problem, and to me, and to many people, it looks like, a big list, a big mess. But then with this formula, the answer becomes much simpler. Don't overcomplicate things. And usually things are much simpler. My third example comes from the movie Titanic. Rose, not quite Dawson. She's not Rose Dawson till the end. So Rose is asked the question by Jack, do you love him? And in this case, it's the opposite of the quote. If the answer isn't simple, it's probably no. Well, he asks about her relationship with the guy she's supposed to marry, supposed to get married to. Well, do you love the guy? And she's all frustrated, and she's like, you shouldn't be asking me this. It's very rude, you shouldn't, this is inappropriate. And it's just not coming out of her. Yes, I love the man I'm going to marry. Her answer is complicated. It's all over. She can't answer it straight. And in that case, her answer is no. The question wasn't really complicated, but her answer was. So that says something about the issue at hand. And in that movie, that simple phrase is used. All aboard, which brings me back to the beginning. Things are either simple or they're complicated. The quote that I believe to mean don't overcomplicate things was sometimes the questions are complicated, but the answers are simple. The meaning of that is based off my answers, off my evidence of the movie Mean Girls, doing math equations, memorizing a math equation through a song and making things simpler, and finally, if your answer isn't simple, it's probably no. So that wraps up my impromptu speech. Thanks.